Everyone's always asking me why aren't I filming bodywork videos, and I should be, and you'll see the reason why in this video why I don't do it. This time lapse was an all day thing. It's taken all day to do this, and if I was to film this without doing a time lapse, it's so boring. It's even boring watching a time lapse. Don't watch the video. It's boring. So that's why it's very, very difficult to film bodywork videos, because the time it takes and it's boring to watch.
See, this is the new merch that's coming out, and you better get it today, because it'll almost be sold out. Please support my daddy with new merch. All the links will be down below in this subscription below, so you can get this amazing, fantastic cup that has ever been born in the cup history.
Right, as you can see, we've got the Range Rover glue off and it's done absolutely no damage to the paint. And yes, I have been using a flat bladed screwdriver, which you think would damage the paint, but you're careful, it won't. I've been using electrical contact cleaner. Yes, I know there is a special tool for a little rubber wheel, but I don't have one. But as you can see, I haven't scratched the paint. This, very careful with the screwdriver. This should come off relatively quickly because it's all been soaked into now, and you'll see it on the time lapse just how easy it comes off. If you get a flat blade screwdriver at the right angle, you will see, look, it doesn't leave any scratch marks behind on the paint. See that? That paint is not scratched. I know I'm going to get people, oh, you're going to scratch your paint. You're actually not. Not if you get it at the right angle. See? No damage whatsoever. Right, we have the whole back done, as you can see. So I've repaired the corner bit there and the dint that was there, so that's all done. And it might not look like it on camera, but I am using a sanding block on the sanding discs. So I'm just using this, it's just a little block of wood. All this side is now done. We repaired the little bit up there, so I've just got a tiny little bit more to do here. Take off the headlight, or the indicator, sorry, take off the front bumper, take off the wipers. We've got a little bit of the old alley rust coming in there, so we've got to sort that out. Then take off this side indicator, all the strips going across there, and you can see here there's a big dint in the door, so we're going to pull out that and repair that. So yeah, we're getting there, ready for undercoat. So we're going to undercoat the whole vehicle. You'll see it in the time lapse. I've just taken off all the rubber molds with the screwdriver, but it is best fishing wire, cut through the thing and it comes off really easy. We haven't done any damage, but fishing wire is just better. Just don't have any. Right, we're all done. We are ready to paint this. It's going to be another day because we've finished 4 today, so it's going to be another day when we actually paint it. I don't know why he's revving it now. But it's all done. Just needs masking off, cleaning down, masking off. You can see everything we've done. That's the new wing and the bumpers. We're taking everything off because I've got to mask all this now for painting. But we are all done, and I will show you the painting. Right, what I'm doing now is, and I'm not going to film it all because it's just pointless because it's going to be boring, but I am now rubbing all the bodywork down ready for painting with panel wipe. But the trick with panel wipe is you want to get something like this to actually physically put it on. It's just a bit easier. It's not, this isn't the end of the world. You don't really need that. It just makes your life a lot easier. Get some roll paper. But the biggest trick with this is once you put it on, if you're going to do this, do all this panel at once. So what I mean by that is spray all this at once. This is getting all the grease off, getting all the dust off. I'm going to have to do this about 3 times around the whole vehicle. But the trick is to get your cut and do it in one motion, like that. Start on one end and finish at the other end. You can see the dust that's caught already. So same again. Don't get it and do it in swirl patterns, because you do it in swirl patterns you won't pick up the dust. Once that dries now in a few seconds, it's still not 100% right, because like I said, I have to do it maybe 3 times. But you'll see the difference between this panel and that panel. I can still take all the dust off that panel. If I was to do that, you're doing 2 things. One is you're scratching the panel more, and 2, you're not actually picking up the dust. Once that dries, you'll see there's a lot less dust. Once I do it over the whole vehicle about 3 times, also with the panel wipe, you want to get all your rubbers so your masking tape sticks. You can see just the black that come off here. You want to do everything. It's just going to take time. Let me go around the vehicle 3 times and then we'll turn the camera back on. But that's a few little tricks you can do with panel wipe. Right, as you can see, I've gone through it twice now, and you can see even the colour difference already. So we've got to do it one more time. We might even need to do it a couple more times. The key is, once you wipe it once, look at your paper and see if you can see any kind of heavy dust on it. Do not under any circumstances start touching this with your hand now. You can wear gloves. So yeah, don't touch it with your hands. As you can also see, what I wanted to kind of also show in this video is we are in a really small shed. We've just got 2 little lights hung up there, right? You can see there's not much room. To be honest, there really isn't enough room between the wall of the shed and the actual side of the car to paint, but we will get away with it. I just want to show you, I'm doing this at a customer's house, but I also want to show you just what it's like, or just what you can do in your own little sheds. You really don't need a big place with really expensive tools. Don't get me wrong, it makes life easier, but you don't really need it. So what we're also going to do is we're going to wet the floor completely before we start, to stop any of the dust coming up. We are only undercoating this here. He wants to leave it in an undercoat because he might leave it in an undercoat for a long time, or he might decide he wants to paint it a different colour. He's not 100% sure yet. We was originally thinking matte black, and you can actually get undercoat that's black. So it would have been kind of a finished job, but it gives him the option later on to actually paint it any colour he wants. Now, if I was to do metallic and stuff in this shed, it'd be very, very difficult, because metallic, you want to paint the whole car at once, because the way the metallic colour is, to try and do it like this would be very, very difficult, because when you have to stop, you can kind of get a line of metallic. You have to blend metallic in separately, but there's just not really enough room. But anyway, look, it's still possible. If you was to paint lacquer and metallic, or even any kind of base coat and lacquer, I would be getting some sheets, and I'll show you them sheets in another video, but where you cover the whole car. It's like a really thin see-through kind of material, and it's what you cover the cars with, and you put that on top over the roof, and like a murder scene almost. So you're going to do all the walls, everything, like you're just about to kill someone, so all the blood splatters on the sheets and nowhere else. Then you can very easily paint in a place like this. Be careful if you're going to put a heater in here, because most heaters cause condensation, that you need a dry heater. So you think you're putting a heater in, you think you're going to do good, but the heater can also get up all the dust and everything. But I just want to show you, in a place like this, which isn't, technically correct and technically big enough, still the finishes you can actually get on a vehicle. So yeah, also the key is we're using high build 2-pack primer, which you can just see there. So that will actually, as it goes onto the vehicle, it kind of swells out almost to take any of the little really tiny pinholes up, and it also allows you to rub it down. The fact that it's 2-pack means there's a hardener goes through it, which means you can just literally paint this an undercoat and leave it. It's not gonna, you can jet wash it, you can do anything. It's not gonna, the rust and the elements aren't gonna get to the actual paint. We've got mixing cups because it's 3-to-1. We've got our paint gun, which is what I'm using, a 1.5mm. That's my undercoat gun. So I'm using a 1.5mm head. That's important to know. Again, depends on your undercoat, but I like to use a 1.5 or 1.6mm for undercoat to get it on there nice and thick, where if it was base coat it'd be 1.3mm. But anyway, we'll go into that in other videos. We've got our standard thinners just for washing out a gun, and also for going around just even though I've done it with panel wipe, but to go around all our edges just to get the crap off, so the paint, the tape sticks to it. We've got a panel wipe. We've got some other good thinners which we're going to mix, just to maybe put 10% of thinners through the paint, just to slightly water it down a little bit more. So yeah, your materials is the key. We've also there, which I'll show you, we've got a tack cloth, because once I've done all this, we're gonna have to go around this with a tack cloth just to make sure all the bits are out. Preparation just takes so much time. That's why I speeded all the beginning of it up, and there's no point me filming all this, because it's just going to be a big long, I'm just wiping it down. That's all I'm doing. I'll show you what it's like when the tack cloth comes, and once I start painting I will turn the camera on. I just used some cloth and some thinners, and I went round, even though I did it 3 times with the panel wipe on all the black trim where we're going to mask. But look at that. So it's amazing. Thinners is a lot tougher and a lot more, and it gets a lot of it off. You just have to be careful with the single pack primer because the thinners will just eat into that. So I'm going to do that another couple more times just to get it all off. Then we're going to mask it. Then we're going to tack cloth it after we mask it, because when we mask it we're going to be moving bits down onto it. So after we mask it, I'm going to be going over with the panel wipe one more time and then the tack cloth, and then we're ready to paint. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to mask. Now there is a trick to masking and people don't really realise. Again, yes, it's best to take everything off and no masking at all, but when you live in the real world, in between all the door gaps and everything, we're going to put special edge tape. I'll show that in another video. But with masking, you want to get 1-inch tape first. You want to start at one end, and the trick is, now you can do it in, you know, use 2 inches of masking tape at a time, but it normally takes longer. Once you get used to masking tape, you can put it on the edge like that, start it. I'm holding this out, you can see how much I'm holding out, but I'm pulling this masking tape. And as I'm pulling the masking tape, depending on how the lip is, if the lip's slightly off the vehicle like most of them are, which I'll show you at the back, as I'm pulling the masking tape hard and taut, I can force the masking tape underneath that lip, and it masks perfectly. Now you do have to be careful. If you force it underneath a lip, if it's touching the car, when you paint you're going to have a hard edge. You don't want it touching the car. But as I'm doing this, and I can move this, and I see all this, I can twist this masking tape, and as I put my finger there, I can manipulate this masking tape. I'll just quickly show you into, this is obviously completely wrong now, but as I'm twisting this masking tape, if I've got a curve, see that? I'm pulling that masking tape hard, and that's one continuous masking tape, and that's a really, really nice curve. So if you had to follow a curved panel, by holding enough of the masking tape out and twisting it and pulling it at the same time, you can create any curve you want. And I can even go the other way. So if I wanted to, now it does take a bit of practice to do that, but you can see, look, if I was to try and do that in little bits, you would get edges, and it would never be right. But you can see how I can manipulate masking tape really easily. Now obviously I have to rub all this down again, so that's why I don't mind touching it with masking tape. But yeah, so you'd be amazed how much you can actually stretch and manipulate masking tape. Might look a bit easy, and it is easy, but it just takes a bit of practice. And I just like to mask in one go if I can. So now I'm constantly adjusting the masking tape with my hand, but I'm just doing it naturally. I'm not even looking at it, but I'm constantly adjusting it, using my finger to get right on the edge, and constantly adjusting it to what I need. And that there now, there we go. That there now is masked. That's why I didn't want to, when I masked, that's why I wanted to do the last rub down with panel wipe and tack cloth it, because when you are masking, you are going to touch it slightly. I got most of it off with the first 3 times. But anyway, so now you can see, very easy, how you can manipulate the masking tape by making sure you've got enough of it out and twisting it with your hand. Practice, like everything, makes perfect. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to continue, put some edge tape along there, continue on with masking, and then we can start sheeting it all off. Right, bear this in mind before I show you what we've done to this. It's coming close to Christmas, so that's one thing. And this is also going to show you just the sort of stuff you can use for masking. You ready? We started off professional, okay, by using all this brown big roll. We ran out of that, so we've used the sheet for the top. That's not a big deal, but we ran out of the brown roll and we couldn't get any more. So coming up towards Christmas, it doesn't need to be there, we decided to go very festive. So you ready? Boom! Wrapping paper. Yeah. Now, yes, I know I'm going to get a lot of grief for this. and some of them are going to be correct in saying what they're saying. This is shiny paper, so what will happen is the paint won't really stick to this. But for what we're doing, for the amount of time it's going to be on there, it's going to be absolutely 100% fine. The plastic, even the special plastic wrap you put for this, it's only a one-time use. You can't paint undercoat or any color, leave it on and then come back a couple of days later to paint the other color, because it will flake off, even the proper plastic sheet. So this is actually really cheap, and it's something you can actually use. It's only going to take us a few hours to spray this, and then we'll rip all this off. It's not going to be a problem. And look at it, it's Rudolph. Makes you happy. So we got Rudolph everywhere. And on the front lot, Rudolph. Yeah. Also, we've used bin liners for the wheels, which again is perfectly fine. Yes, you don't want to reuse these things. Once you've painted an undercoat, a colour, whatever it is, you have to take all the masking off anyway, because again, the paint won't stick to that. And when you come in with the, let's say you was to undercoat this, and then you leave it a couple of days, or you know whatever, and then you come to paint it. As you're coming to paint it, as the gun's coming past, you're going to blow all the paint off here, which is going to stick into your new paint job. So yes, but that happens even on the proper plastic stuff. So the fact that we're using this and going to rip it off, it really isn't a big deal. For the few coats we're going to put on this, it's going to stick, it's not going to dry, and then we'll rip it all off, and when it comes to obviously want to paint the final colour, we can remask it again. But it just goes to show you what you can use, especially when you're on a budget. And we've got to also remember, this is on a budget. And it's done at a customer's house. It's not done in a proper like workshop, but it just goes to show what you can accomplish even in a little garage like this. Right, the final step before painting is our tack cloth. Now yes, it's better to wear the suit, it's better to be in a clean environment, it's better all this blah blah blah, of course it is, but look, most people aren't going to have that, and we're just showing ways of how you can do it without. So this is a tack cloth, it's exactly what it says on the tin, it's tacky. So we're going to go across the whole vehicle just in one wipe, like that, and any bits of crap, it's going to pick it up in the tack cloth. You can even see bits there now. It's going to pick it all up and it's going to stop it going in the paint. Yes, we're going to get bits in, yes, we've got an open door and all that, you are going to get that, but even in a spray booth you get bits in, just not as many as we're going to get. But we need to go around the whole vehicle with this. Right, I've gone around with the tack cloth, and even though I've wiped this 4 times now with panel wipe, you can still see all the stuff that it caught. Right, we had a bit of technical difficulty. We've only got one light now. Our other lights got smashed. But anyway, again, it is what it is. These are Mixkin. I can't even say it. Mixkin cup. Mixing. Yeah. You can see we've got 3-to-1, which is what we need. So we're going to mix our stuff with these special cups. This one goes from 2-to-1 all the way to 7-to-1, depending on what paint you're mixing. So we're going to put it in there, put it in our gun, and then we're going to paint. Now, I'm not going to really be able to show the painting process, I don't think, because if I leave the camera in here, it's just going to get overspray. You're not going to really be able to see anything. I might try and set up at the front where I can just kind of do the bonnet so you can see, but I don't know what we're going to be able to see on camera, but I can show you afterwards if you can't see anything. Right, this is the first coat. And don't worry if you don't get it all at once. The issue is because I haven't got enough room, I need to be a bit further away from it than what I am, but it's going on nice and even. Hopefully you can see the actual finish of it there. What I like to do with Undercoat, this is just me personally, you can see that these, if I was painting colour, these lines would be a lot higher. They'd be twice the width. I like a small, and I've set my gun to this, I like a smaller nozzle area, even though the nozzle is a 1.5mm and base coat would be 1.3mm or 1.257mm if you're doing water base. But I like to make it shorter so the paint really gets on there. You do have to be careful doing it this way because you can cause a lot more runs because you're putting paint on quite thicker. But I personally, for Undercoat, especially for high build primers, it just seems to go on better. It just seems to get you a lot better finish. So we're going to do this a couple more times and then we'll be good to go. I've just noticed a bloody drip there. The gun is leaking from a seal. And it's just dripped on there. Anyway, we can get that out. But yeah, it's all one colour now, and it just transforms it completely. Right, we have now finally got it all undercoated, and Rudolph approves. But does Will? Do you approve, Will? You can stay with there. You're not on camera.
No, it's terrible.
Okay. Well, the customer Will hates it, but
a very disappointed customer.
He's very disappointed, but what he doesn't realise now is it's completely too late. So it makes no difference. So there you go. But as you can see, it's all done. It's all uniformed. We are going to take the tape off now. I've just started taking it off there because if you have, for whatever reason, especially when you put a lot of paint on, you can get a layer between the paint and the masking tape, and if you take it off when it's dry, you can get this horrible edge and it can peel. Even when you're in a spray booth, what you normally do is you normally leave the car. I always try and get the masking tape off as soon as possible, but you obviously run the risk of damaging the paint. But what you can do in a spray booth is you heat it up so the paint goes supple again and then take off the masking tape. But we are all done. We're all uniformed. So it's all one colour. It is a bit awkward to spray in a shed like this because, you know, I would prefer to spray kind of the whole side at once. It's just having more room, especially if you were doing, like I was saying, the base coat. If you're doing metallic, you really can't spray. Well, you can, but you have to spray metallic differently because you'll get all horrible metallic lines at all the door shuts. So you do have to kind of spray that slightly differently. But yeah, look at it. Boom. Shouldn't have really done that, but I did. What I have done before, a few years ago, it was hilarious. I was masking up a vehicle and I had one, I think it was the driver's window I had down and the passenger's window I didn't, but I had to mask it up. So what I did is I went, smashed the paper through on the driver's side, and I said to my friend, I bet you can't do that as clean as what I've just done that. So he went and he hit a window, which was bloody hilarious. Should have filmed that really. It is a risk to do this now because the paint obviously isn't fully dry, so that also helps you in certain aspects but can also put a lot more dust into the paint. I just want to explain how to deal with customers that are unhappy. What you've got to do, the key is, right? No, he's unhappy, right? He is unhappy, but the key is what you have to do is you get paid first, because then when he's unhappy, it's too late. So
I'm not paying you.
So yeah, there we go. Get paid first, and then you're all right.
I've never seen any money out of this job.
So there we go. We got all the tape off. And you can see, obviously, you know, it looks a million times better. We don't know yet, if he's going to keep it this color or if he's going to actually put, we don't know. But anyway, the most important thing is now the car is essentially protected. So in other words, what you can do is once this is fully dry, and it does take about 8 weeks for paint to fully dry, believe it or not. It can be touch dry within 24 hours and you can wash it, you can do it, but to fully harden, it's still green underneath, can take 6 to 8 weeks depending on what sort of climate you're in, even if it's been in an oven. But this now is essentially protected. So this car, after 24 hours, can go outside, you can drive it, you can do anything you want with it, because it's 2-pack undercoat that's on it. So yeah, so there we go. It's looking good. He really wants to get this outside, and I don't know how much of a good idea this is. Needs a little bit of engine work, but nothing major. Please come straight back, Will. Just straight back. That's all you need to do. Okay, whoa! Now look at that. What do you think?
Look at that, man. I like that colour, you know?
Look at that. So he looks like now. So there we go, people. There we go. Once we stick all the lights and stuff back onto it, he might be going for a matte colour, which would be nice, but we're going to see. But as always, hope it helps. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Links up here, links down below, but most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one. Sorted.